All right, yeah, Penguin has come out with a few more episodes now. That's what I watched episode 2, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do an episode on that. But then before I knew it, it was already the next week, the next Sunday, and I got the notification the next episode came out. And I didn't want to wait, so I watched that one too. and now I think there's even another episode out, and I just haven't recorded these yet. So I went back and watched episode 2 so that I could make an episode about it and remember specifically what was in that episode. Because I really enjoyed episode 1. Well, one thing I have definitely found in watching the show is that I disproportionately like Colin Farrell as this character over the rest of the story. So sometimes when other characters are being emphasized, whether it's his driver character or the Falcone daughter, although it got better with her in the following episode. But I just don't think that any of them have really the acting chops or the complexity to be as interesting. So I'd just rather see more Colin Farrell. But we do get some stuff related to the backstory of the driver character that is interesting. And please correct me, because I don't think I remember the Batman all that well. But I think there was the Riddler, there was some attack that he did, and it flooded everything. And so in the show itself, it's supposed to be a depiction of the aftermath of that, because something bad happened to the driver character when all of that happened. So he's got some connection, which is good. You know, it's really good. But this episode in particular, it starts out with the Penguin, Oz. I know he doesn't even like to be called the Penguin. I know. And Oz, he is talking to the Falcone's sister. What is her name? Sophia, that's right. So he's talking to Sophia. And we've got this whole thing going on in the family that they lost the one who is the apparent heir in the first episode because Oz, killed him. So he's trying to not let that information get out while he's working the rest of the Falcones. But Sophia was very fond of the person that Oz killed because he was the one who was there for her when she was going through a whole bunch of stuff. But now we have this new, their uncle? Is it her uncle? So there's another Falcone who's kind of stepping into the role right now. But Oz is getting in Sophia's ear and saying that she should be the one who is trying to take power at this point because none of them like her. They're calling her crazy because of everything that happened before. Now, the episode starts out with, because you've got Oz who's playing the two sides. He's got the two families who he's playing both of them to go against each other while he's pretending to be on the side of either one. And part of that is the shipment of this new kind of drug that was supposed to be set up with the original one who was in the beginning. But at the beginning of this episode, he's got to be part of this shipment. They want him to be involved directly into it, but he has set up both sides. So he knows that the shipment's going to be ambushed, but now he has to be part of the squad that's being ambushed. So that's going to make it a little difficult. So it's a great sequence. It looks great. Colin Farrell does a great job, and it was just a lot of fun to watch. But then you have the games between Penguin and Sophia, wherein Sophia is very suspicious of him, and Oz is really trying to get on her side and inspire her to do something. Now, he's got to win her over, obviously, because he was the one who killed her brother, so there are some actual significant stakes that are going on. Now, while this one didn't hold my interest as much as the first episode, I thought there was still a lot of stuff that was fun to watch. And a lot of it looked great, and there were setups. I mean, even just describing the beginning of the episode and where everything is, there's a whole hell of a lot more going on with the plotting in this. There could be some more interesting character stuff, more interesting psychology related to the characters. But I think it's really trying to settle into this, and we're going to get a backstory related to the Sophia character and more backstory related to Oz and his driver, which is all going to contribute to more complexity related to this. But we finally get, later in the episode, they end up at the mansion, and there's some tension between the parties. They've got a man, the Falcones have a man from the other family, and they're trying to use him to get information. Like they're holding him down in the mansion for purposes of torture, so that they can get information out of him. Now, part of that information could be that Oz is working with the other family, so he has to worry about that. So still, you've got this plotting, you've got tension built into it, you've got people, as usual, trying to kill Oz. This is something that it does become I'm concerned about. Because he gets very lucky in a couple of instances where it doesn't seem like he should. and then there's this deus ex machina that delivers him from the situation. You do that too much and suddenly your story doesn't make any sense. It's either gotta be that your main character is smart enough and has set up enough and is clever enough to be able to get out of these situations at a regular clip, or you're gonna have a couple of times where there's a deus ex machina that's gonna intervene. But if you have too many of those, then it just feels artificial. So I definitely want to see less of Oz being in very dire situations that don't make sense for him to get out of, and see more of him being clever, at least there being a 50-50 shot he would make it or not make it, instead of there being these overwhelming odds around him and he just happens to work out for him anyway. But there is, when they're in the mansion toward the end of the episode, the last part of the episode, you've got Sophia going around, and it's very clear that everybody's very suspicious of her and doesn't like her. So she's alienated, so that would engender her more to Oz. And she does, because I want to like this actress. I really, really do. I want to like what she does. I want to like this character. I want to be interested in it. And there are times where it makes a lot of sense because people treat her differently, so she begins to act differently. It's not that she just acts crazy and therefore people act a certain way related to her, but they are already seeing her in that way, so she starts playing into it, which is a more interesting character kind of development. But by the end, Oz finds the witness before they're able to question him or torture him and get the information out of him, and puts him down so he doesn't have to worry about it. But then the question is, okay, who killed the witness? Who in the mansion killed the witness? And what should we do about that? But the whole situation eventually brings Oz and Sophia together. There were a lot of things that were contextual that made this more possible, which I appreciated. Overall, like I said, it's a lower point than the first episode, but I thought it was still a lot of fun to watch, and it looks great. And every time Colin Farrell's on screen, I just thoroughly enjoy it. I could watch him play this character for hours and hours. So anyway, yeah, that's episode 2. Let me know what you think about it. I wonder where this is going, because it could end up being one of the great shows on HBO, and it happens to be in a comic book universe, or it could take a dive and just go the wrong direction. And I wonder what people think about it. All right, that is Penguin episode 2. I will see you on the next one. All right, bye.